So,
I think
you know,
he doesn't shoot anyone, and I think all these videos are in reverse. I think that's BB's coming from them and hitting him.
no.
So, hello to everyone that's joined. I'm here with Hutchy.
Hello.
None of you want to just see my face there, do you? They're all here for you. They've just come for this beard that's growing nicely.
That's what it is.
Makes up for the hair falling out of there.
Well, yeah, I'm already there, more or less, I think. I keep saying
that's fine.
about...
You're like 10 years older than me. I'm 10 years younger and I've got less hair than you.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just really, all of a sudden, it's just started to... We're talking about... I'm supposed to be talking about Airsoft. I'm talking about, like, pattern baldness. It's just started to go over the last couple of years quite badly, so... it is what it is, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Well, I've worked out, though, because obviously with my hair stuff... Obviously, you saw my hair fall out. You know why my hair fell out.
Of course.
And obviously it started getting patchy, and I'm short. And obviously you rarely see the top of your own head. And I'll tell you what done it. I went shooting with Kenny. Obviously we know Kenny, but for those that don't, Kenny runs Empire Airsoft.
Lovely boy.
I've known him for years. Hutchy's known him for years. I think you got him into it at APOC, didn't you? Into Airsoft? Was it APOC?
There's Dog Tag.
Dog Tag, that was it.
Dog Tag, yeah. I met him in the bush with Kenny. He had, I think I just got into, I was into airsoft sniping, and I think I just bought a cheap, I think it was like a cheap ghillie type sort of thing, and saw him at Dog Tag, and he followed me around. He had a black t-shirt on, tan plate carrier, M4. And
that M4 was at Empire at the workshop. I was down there because obviously I'm not a million miles from him, and he had a customer come down, and he was chatting to his customer, and he gave this customer this M4, and I was like, why do I recognise that? And Kenny was like, oh, this is my like old school plastic TM M4. He was like, oh, this customer, whatever his name was, really nice guy, was like, oh yeah, I want to practice some tech work, so I'll upgrade it for you if you want. So Kenny gave it to him. So at some point, Kenny's going to have that old school TM, because it is old. It must be like 7 or 8 years old.
It's got to be at least that.
So that'd be interesting to see.
But the funny thing about it, though, we got chatting, and we sort of left after that day. We played together the whole day, and then we left. And then I think it was a week later. I think I was only doing like I don't know, it was a half shift or something like that. So I went for an afternoon session, and he was playing like for that day, and he was on the other team. And I shot him in the neck, and he was like, he was just holding his neck, and he had this massive like welt come up on his neck.
Neck shots hurt. Like...
And he goes, was that you that shot me? And I went, yeah, like that. And he went, can I have a go? And I went, yeah, you can have a go, but you can't shoot me with my own rifle. And he had a go, and he was like, I like that. I want to have. I'm going to go.
And then he went out and bought the most expensive Wolverine bolt VSR.
I was talking to someone the other day. I might have been on my live stream, on one of my streams, and I remember him paying an obscene amount of money. It's just before we went to France, because there was that big. He was trying to get it fixed and working before we went. I think it was like 2 or 3. Is that a week before we were going? And he got. I think he couldn't get one in the UK, so I think he got one from France. I think.
Yeah. Power 6. He got it from. I remember because we were talking. He had the Wolverine bolt, but he needed the spares, and they didn't have the spares separately, so he just bought another bolt, just so he could take the parts he needed out of it. And I was like, why don't you just put the new bolt in? Don't put the new parts in your old bolt. Just put the whole new bolt in. But yeah, going back to that, the reason going back to hair loss is I was shooting with him, and obviously they were taking some pictures at the event, and it was really sunny, and my little bald pate just burnt. So I had this like pink ring of just like next to no hair, and it went up on Facebook, and I was like, I've got to have some dignity. So I was like, and I said to my girlfriend, I was like, just shave it all off. And I was like, pray to God, I've got a perfectly round head, please. Shaved it all off, and I was like, all right, I might look like I stabbed someone, but I've got a round head and no strawberries or whatever they're called, like the head freckles. So yeah, not too bad.
I shaved mine off in when we was in lockdown. I think I've done a couple of streams, I think, with it, and I didn't mind it too much. But
we all did. You did it.
I did, yeah.
I shaved it once. Paul did it, didn't he? And then Simon did it. Simon and his son did it for a charity thing, didn't they?
Yeah.
During the beginning of lockdown.
Paul did it because he had no choice. Smithy had to do it because he was.
He's balding as well.
He was in denial for years. I think he still is. But yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day. I mean, the other day I was at work and when it was really hot. It was like nearly 40 degrees or whatever it was, and I didn't have a hat. Sometimes I wear a cap sometimes quite a lot, especially at work because of like sun, and I forgot it. And it just literally, my head was burnt, and it was, I could feel my head just going boom,
just throbbing almost, isn't it?
It was just like, it felt like, just, like the cartoon where they hit the thumb and they just thumb just
swells
does
up.
that.
Yeah,
that's what my head felt like. It was just doing that. So I won't make that mistake again.
So for the folks watching the stream, there's no real format. Just me and Hutchy haven't spoken at all for a while. We've spoken on and off for a while, and I thought, well, we need to have a catch up. So why not just have a catch up on stream? So we're not ignoring everyone. We're just in our own little world. If you're in the stream, there is a questions card, I hope. I think it's working because a few people have. So if you've got a question for me or Hutchy, just use the little question card, and then when it pops up, I will be able to publish it.
I can guarantee you there will be one person asking questions, and I know who that person is.
Well, Gary's already asked one. And he said, forgetting performance, what is your favourite noggin bopper?
You want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first. I'm going to try and sort this comments thing out.
My favourite noggin popper. I think it has to be sniper rifles. I mean, I only own sniper rifles and pistols, so it's probably going to be a sniper rifle. And I think for accuracy wise, and that at the moment, I'm getting a lot of joy with the Scout. And it's quite satisfying, especially if they're wearing like a metal helmet or a helmet of some sort, because the noise that it comes off of that is just something else. But just recently, or just last few times I played, pistol shots have been quite satisfying as well. So though the MK23 has been letting me down a lot of late. So I've not really been using it that much, purely because it just keeps letting me down. I keep getting dropped on people, and as normal. And you go to pull the trigger and there's no gas, or the gas is leaked, or it doesn't feed, or it just misfeeds, so it's not reliable. I can't trust it anymore.
Funny enough, I've had a few problems with my old MK, although mine's really old.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to retire it. I think they, obviously being gas, obviously you're putting various gases at different PSIs in all throughout the year. So I think they do, like hammers and springs do wear out as much as you can maintain them, because Kenny rebuilt his MK the other day with like all the WeTech stuff.
Yeah.
And I put it next to my MK and then a brand new out of the box MK. And one of the benefits of living like 20 minutes away is I can go down and pester him. And yeah, with the WeTech upgrades, it feels completely different. Like the trigger is different.
What, is it lighter, or is it?
It's firmer, but there's no like squishiness to it. Like it's very positive. And like when the hammer hits, there's no like hammer wobble, because the MK hammer's got that little bit of wobble to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, like
generally solid. So I think if I got another MK, I would buy a new one, because I've got a carbine kit I want to use from OTAR Airsoft, and I think I'd just gut my old one and shove a load of WeTech stuff in there, because it isn't that
interesting.
That expensive.
Because the WeTech stuff I've heard good things about, but I don't know what the lifespan of it is. I know. I mean, I had an MK23 TM which was stock, which stocks hammer springs and everything, and that's what broke. And I was with Foxy. I think I was playing up at the base CQC. Broke halfway through the day. Just wouldn't fire. It'd fire. You put one mag in. You put the mag in. It'd fire one shot, and then nothing. It just cycled, but nothing. And then took it out, put it in again. It'd fire one shot, and that'd be it. So I'm not quite sure even what was wrong with it, but it just wouldn't work. So then I went out and I got. I didn't have the money to buy a TM one, so I've got an ASG one.
I don't mind an ASG one, to be honest.
Yeah,
the price, they're not bad.
I was using like the upper TM bit with a bottom ASG lower, because just to try and sort of keep it, working. It wouldn't feed properly, and in the end, I ended up sort of like putting the top part in and using the middle MK. It's probably why it's not working. It's probably me that's done it. And then But so it's just not been right. And then in the mags as well, you've got this mag issue where like you buy a mag and then it'll work for a bit and then it just all of a sudden leak. But it won't tell you that it's leaking. It'll leak when it's on you. So then you go to put it into the pistol and then all of a sudden you fire a shot and this is nothing. And just little things like that. So I've mentioned before, I've probably got about 12 MK mags sitting around which just knackered, just leaked.
Yeah, and the thing is with gas mags, they're not bloody cheap, are they? I think a clone mag's like, what, 23 quid? The TM ones are like 28 quid.
Something like that, yeah. They're not cheap. So, but because I've started using the little Bodyguard, the TM Bodyguard and I've got a suppressor adapter for it, and I've got 5 mags for that. And they're only like, I think like about 15, 16 quid, I think, for those mags. They're a lot cheaper. But I don't know what they'd be like over time, as in like will they start leaking or what would they like? Because I run map gas in the winter time, so would they all be able to sort of withstand the map gas? So it's one of those things where we'll have to see how it performs. But first impressions for a stock little pistol, it shoots quite nice. You know, needs a TDC though.
What's that? The Bodyguard?
Yeah, it needs a TDC.
You can't go into detail, but there are things that are coming regarding that particular little pocket rocket.
It is a pocket rocket. There's because I mean I use 3.2s in mine, and it's only because I had a big bottle of 3.2s, but it's overhopping
4.8s, Hutchy. 4.8s.
At the moment, no, it won't be 4.8s.
Soon.
But I'm sure with that, whatever's coming, which I have an idea.
If it works the way, because it's myself and someone else are doing some parts on it. If it works as well as like the mock-up bits we've got together, it would replace my MK, and I think it would replace a lot of people's MKs. The only downside being the mags are small in terms of like 10 rounds or 11. Yeah,
it's not the best.
Next question. From James Hamilton, which should have popped up in the stream, is what's your opinion on the AAP?
He knows my opinion on the AAP.
Is it a triggered question?
He's baiting me.
Okay.
No, I'm not. Everyone, this is going to upset a lot of people. I'm not a fan, and I've never have been a fan. I don't like the way it looks. I'm not denying that it's probably a really good pistol for the money. I just personally don't like it. I don't know why. I just don't like it. But then again,
I'm waiting for the comments to kick off with torches and pitchforks. Yeah. Burn him at the stake.
I'm just not a fan.
To be fair, I don't like when they're in kits and stuff. Like I've seen a lot of people build like really cool carbine kits and HPA them. Performance-wise, they're very, very good. Like obviously, I've done tests with the low-key. Silly Gilly brought one of his AAPs down to test with the low-key, and like it was a really good sidearm. It's sort of a mix between like you kind of have the range of an MK, but the snappiness of obviously like a G18, which obviously I know you've got a Glock or you used to have a Glock, and I'm a fan of the Glock. Mm-hmm. But ergonomically, I'm like you. I appreciate it's a very good design, and I like them, and I would use one, but I would rather still have my MK and my USP.
Yeah.
Than one, because the MK is a bit better in terms of range and accuracy, and the USP is more. My little USB compact is still good on 4.8s, and it's obviously a lot smaller, and it's not that much louder than the AAP.
Yeah.
So I kind of like having two separate things that are both good at their job than one all-rounder that's sort of good-ish at all of it.
You do need, especially if you're in the sniper loadout, you do need a silenced pistol. I tried the HK45 tactical, which was kind of in between. Now, while it was fairly quiet for a blowback pistol, it will give you away. So you can't really let one or two shots off while they're firing because people will hear you. So whilst the one that I had shot really well, probably one of the best shooting pistols I've had, I didn't really see the point of it because it was kind of an in-between pistol. It wasn't a loud pistol, but at the same time, holstering it was a bit difficult unless I cross-drawed it. So that's why I went back to the MK for a little while. And then because it kept letting me down, and then obviously now the Bodyguard's come along. And the last few games I played with the Bodyguard, with that thing on it, it shot really well. There was a few people moaning about being hit by it because it was even with 3.2s, it was punching. And so I think, like you just said, I think the Bodyguard will be a go-to instead of the MK once, or if something comes out for it.
I think if you're prepared to carry 2 pistols, so like obviously 4 years ago, when we all first went to France, we were all generally running cross-draw MK, lower back pistol, whether it was a SIG 226, Glock, or USP, or whatever it was.
Good times.
And the reason for that is obviously the MK is genuinely crap at taking out groups of people if they're aware of you and shooting back, because it is spongy, it isn't quick. No. The USP compact is incredibly snappy. Glock's obviously very snappy, so having one with just a couple of mags to get you out of the crap sort of situation is useful. Whereas when there's only 1 or 2 people, obviously the Bodyguard, the MK is going to be better because you're going to get both of them without knowing. Whereas when a group of 5 rock up on you, you kind of want to just go, right, MK's going down, and then Glock's out, and then burp, done.
I think if you've got, like you say, in the max amount of people, I think you can, I mean, loads of people are probably going to disagree with me, but in my opinion, if you're in a situation and there's like 4 or 5 people, then I will go loud rather than with the MK. That's purely because I think if you try and take 4 or 5 people out of the MK, by the time you get to the 3rd or 4th person, the other couple, 1 or 2 people, kind of going to roughly know what's going on, and they'll probably get a drop on you. Whereas if you've got a blowback pistol, you can get those rounds off quicker, and then while there's that noise going, they're disorientated and they'll probably just be like, oh yeah, okay. So that's why I think 2 or 3 people MK maximum. Anything over that, it's got to go. You've got to go loud, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of it also depends on your play style, doesn't it? Next question is from our friend Ed. This is him baiting me this time around. Hutchy, what do you think of Emperium? What are we talking about off stream? And do you think Dan would like a game there?
I think you'd like a game there. Yeah, I won't deny it. Oh, look, Ed knows my feelings on Emperium. I do like Emperium. I like. He thinks it's the best sniper site, and this is where I like to disagree with Ed. And it's nice to have a healthy disagreement, but you know, it's very much parts of it kind of remind me of the sandpit in a way, because you've got like
is in the old Essex site.
No, the one literally near Bluewater in Kent.
Oh, Kent, so not Essex.
Yeah, so basically there's quite a lot of scrubland, sort of like waste, high grass areas that are open. So yeah, on a very calm day, if you're in the right position, you can get nice long range shots. But when the wind picks up, and it's impossible to snipe there. So yeah, while depending on the day, it is good. Depending on if you get a little bit of breeze coming, it makes the shots a little harder. And then couple that with some elite operator types that go there that don't want to take hits, you pull off some really good shot, counting for the wind at a 45-degree angle, and they don't take it. It makes the day very difficult. So it is a good site. You would enjoy it. And yeah, you know, I think it's worth at least going down and seeing what it's all about. I think you probably would enjoy it, especially one of the ground war days. But they use the whole site. It is a fairly biggish site to walk, especially if you get hit out and you've got to walk back to spawn. But yeah, give it a go. I would. I'd play there. It's just not. If I was to categorize my favourite sites.
Oh, Camman's in. He says he likes. What do you call it?
Camman.
Yeah, he just joined and said he loves Emperium.
He went there on probably one of the crappiest days ever. It was windy and it was wet and it was horrible. But Cameron was running his MTW, I think, and he loved it. He had a really good day there. He loved it. But for sniping, it wasn't great at all, especially that day.
I think Ed was talking to me the other day, and I said maybe I'd go. Like, obviously, I stopped Airsoft for quite some time, and I've got back into it. But I like lakes. obviously I've liked lakes for a long time.
Lakes is a good site.
I would go to other places like Emperium. I would give it a go.
If you do go, it's worth going on it, because the last time we played there, and what I did like about it, I think Ed probably had an input in this, because he's a celebrity down there. He's a right diva.
He is. All the 12-year-old girls love him.
Oh, they love him. It's like, oh, it's Kenny. Oh.
You should see Kenny swooning over him.
Oh, Kenny's a slut. You go after anyone.
He is.
But what was I saying? Yeah, Emperium. When last time we played there, they said there's a group of, there's probably about 6 or 7 of us, like mostly ghillies. We could be a rogue element, and all we was the task we're doing was just creating trouble. So the other teams had objectives. We were there just to shoot them, and just to basically just be a pain in the bum. And it was probably one of the best days I've had there, because it was a really, really good day. But because it was a test, because they hadn't run it before, it was one of those things where one of our spawn, where we were spawning, they didn't really know, the teams didn't know, so they were kind of on top of our spawn. So we were like shooting from our spawn, and they're like, "What are you doing? Why are you shooting? You're dead." And I was like, "No, we're on a spawn. We can find our way out of the spawn." And it kind of created a little bit of friction between a couple of players. But if they was just iron out those little sort of teething problems, it was a really good day. So if you could go to a Grand War day and they do that, yeah, it'd be really good. Especially like with you, if you went down there and me.
I mean, obviously my problem is I don't drive, so I kind of rely on people taxiing me. Like Ryan, bearded Airsoft, obviously isn't a million miles right. So when he goes and he's got a weekend, I'll generally go.
Well, just have to let me know, because I mean, I know Ed.
It's oddly far from me.
Is oddly far? Did you say?
Yeah. Well, they're saying that he comes around mine every now and then. So I've said to him, like, maybe one weekend just come around on the Saturday night for like a barbecue or fire or something. Stay over because I've got a spare room, and then just leave mine early and go somewhere. Which I think he said he's happy to do.
Yeah, I mean, or if it comes to a day when, I mean, I don't mind picking you up. It's not a problem. I've got a spare seat for you.
Yeah, I definitely want to go a bit more. Like I think having a break from it, and obviously just having a different mindset, has made me enjoy it a hell of a lot more than I did sort of towards the end. Like I think towards the end, because I was going quite a lot. Obviously, we were going a lot, and I was going with Kenny a lot. I was going with Jack and Jake and Ryan and stuff, and I was going to the lakes like every weekend. Yeah. And then I just had like 2 or 3 bad weekends with just a few. And I went to Driverwood, which I didn't enjoy at the time, although it looks really good now.
I mean,
Driverwood's bad, but
it's not great, but it's not bad. But I'll get back to that in a minute. But I think a lot of it, the reason why, it just me thinking, I think the reason why what happened, why you lost a bit of interest, was a lot of stuff probably to do with what was going on, not playing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously
that kind of, I think I saw. I was really concerned, as well as for you, as well as a lot of other people. So it's nice to actually see you back playing and actually having some form of contributing back into the sport, because your knowledge is.
I tell you what, if I wasn't so arrogant, I would have quit. But I refuse to let those pair of individuals get the better of me.
Yeah, well, we won't mention names, but like I said, it for me. I mean, I had conversations. I had one night. Steve Bayliss, Hadron called me, and we were on the phone for about an hour and a half, and we were just talking about everything, and about obviously you're in the conversation, and he was like, "Oh no, it's a waste. He's got far too much knowledge to not be an airsoft." And I was like, "I know, but he's obviously, this is going on, that's going on, blah 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 blah." So yeah, it's nothing. Especially when you've pulled the suit back on again. It's nice to sort of see you back playing again.
I tell you what, the first game I went to, I was so unfit, and I was very like. I've been airsofting longer than nearly everyone else I've ever met. Like most people have like a 3 or 5 year lifespan of airsofting going. I've been playing since I was like 16 odd, and that's like 17 years ago.
Yeah.
Like VCRA didn't exist when I started airsoft. So I'm not, like, I know what being shot feels like. I know how to play the game. But when I first went to lakes after like a 2-year break, even though I had my rifle and everything was set up and tuned and I'd gone to the range beforehand, I just found myself just being like really slow, really cautious, and just really boring, and making like being in my ghillie and then standing in like in sunlight. And then in the morning I was like got lit up a few times. Then I was like, okay, I'm getting into it. And then once I had my coffee and my sandwich at lunch, I was back out in the afternoon. I was like, okay, I'm getting into it. And obviously, nothing builds your confidence like shooting silly ghillie. And no, Ed, I'm never dropping it. And then after that, I thought, I quite enjoy this.
I hate to burst your bubble, Dan. I said, but loads of people shot Ed, and they shoot him a lot. So every Sunday they shoot him. So,
I think he doesn't shoot anyone, and I think all these videos are in reverse. I think that's BB's coming from them and hitting him.
Like I said before, we chatting off air. I've known Ed. He's a lovely lad, and he does give a lot, especially now with his crafting and even his videos. Now my kids love his videos.
Are they 12 years old?
One of them is younger.
Oh, but, he's going to grow into enjoying it.
Yeah, but no, they prefer to watch his than mine. But then again, I mean, I can't compete with someone who's got that sort of ability that he's got. I'm not talking airsoft ability. I'm talking editing ability, by the way. But I think if it was to come down to it, better players. I think there are better players than me. There are worse players than me. I think I'm pretty much I'm an okay player. I wouldn't say I was great, but I wouldn't say I was bad either. But when it comes to sort of editing videos wise, I think I think Cam Man editing wise is probably one of the best airsoft content creators for editing and putting stuff together.
I have to say I like his stuff. I think he does do some pretty cool stuff. Saying that, like you, Ed, all of you do. You've all got your own individual style of editing, which I think it works. Like how you do your video suits the way that you play. Yeah. If that makes sense.
I think a lot for me, like I said, I mean, I've got a laptop and that's it. I've not got a PC or anything like that. This laptop I'm on now I paid about 160 quid for before lockdown. It's just a cheap thing and it just does the job. But I'm not using that as an excuse. But I just work with what I've got.
It's learning it. It's the time to learn. Like I've got a friend who does a lot of my editing just because he's in that industry and he does it. And it's worth me just paying him to do it versus the amount of time it would take me. Obviously, my time's chopped up between design, consultancy, help and missus, and a few other things.
Yeah.
So as much as I'd enjoy it and I like learning stuff, I'd be like 5 years behind him. Ed's offered to do stuff for me, and obviously his editing's good.
The thing is as well, a lot of people don't realise the time that goes into doing a video. I certainly didn't realise until I started doing it, and I self-taught myself. I just watched a couple of how-to videos on YouTube on how to edit videos and what sort of software to use and how to do this and how to do that, and and I learned in the first lockdown. I had some gameplay. I just thought, I'll just try and have a go, see how it comes out, and then it's kind of just gone from there. And I think as my videos go on, you can see that everyone sort of progressed a little bit better. They seem to, even though certain videos have more views than others, it doesn't mean to say that they're bad videos. It's what certain people want to watch, and while platform-wise, Facebook's probably my best platform, and YouTube's probably my worst platform. We all know YouTube's a hard nut to crack.
YouTube is particularly weird.
I just upload it, and the main thing is I do it for fun. I'm not doing to try and do anything. I do it because I weirdly quite enjoy editing when I get a chance to do it. And sometimes, believe it or not, a lot of you guys know I do a lot of my editing at work on night shifts when it's not busy. So
I've known you long enough to know that you don't work.
Don't
pull that shit. You do not work. I'll be on holiday and I'll get a message off you going, Dan, you at Terminal 5, mate. I am, yes. How do you know?
No, I do work, and it's very busy at the moment, so I've not had a chance to do any on night shifts at the moment. But when it comes to sort of October, November, December time, the night shifts are a bit more quiet, and I can do a bit more at night times. Other than that, I've got to do it on my days off, and on my days off, I work my days off doing my other job. So it's trying to find that balance and trying to get everything. You know, I haven't got abundance of free time.
No, that's the thing. Like, obviously, when I was doing some of my editing, just having to watch the footage in itself is time consuming.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ed has like a good tip where he makes a sound before he takes like what he thinks will be a good shot, so that he can quickly find the spike of noise and stuff, or like clapping or whatever. But for my stuff, it's just an hour and a half of idiots babbling about crap, and I've just got to kind of hope I stop on a bit that looks good, so I can make a clip of it. Or
that's what Ed told you. No, what it is he actually gets shot first, so he shouts hit.
Oh, and then rewinds
it. And then I medic him back in, and then he takes a shot. And so that's what happens. Yeah.
That does make more sense. I'm not going to lie.
There you go. Maybe get shot on purpose. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna publish some of these comments, which should go to the stream, because some of them are quite funny. And Cam Man he's in the chat. He's given some good comments.
A lot of people don't realise and know Cam Man very well. Cam Man's got a very dark side, humour side to him. I mean, do you remember the stuff he was coming up with in the cars on the way to France? The stuff that he was sending us.
I want to say I do.
Let me just, I've got to word this right, because I was driving my van. I had Smithy because he wanted to be my co-pilot, and he was just laughing hysterically. I've never seen Smithy laugh as much. It's hard seeing him laugh, let alone letting him see a laugh hysterically. But he was laughing at this meme that Cam Man had made, and it had a certain person.
Oh God, yes,
yeah. And he come up with that. So that's and I couldn't believe he come up with that. I thought he's such an innocent person. He's not.
But yeah, he just put a comment saying like Ed and him were giving each other stick about him not actually playing or being very good, and Cameron's just wrote, "I just do voiceovers. I'll get someone else to actually play for me." Which is I respect that.
I like Cam, man. He's especially his video. Like I say, his videos. He's makes some very. He was doing one video that I liked Cam, man. He was when he was playing up at, I think it was CAG, Combat Action Games in Norfolk. And he said that they were after the special. What was it? It was a KFC special recipe or something like that. That they need to find a special recipe. I thought, this is just genius. Come up with that. I wouldn't have even thought about coming up with that. It was very good, really funny.
Do you remember the second time we went to France, and because obviously the first time you were with Phil, and we got customs on the way back, and they're like, "Where have you been?" And he was like,
"Oh, that was the
shooting guns."
Time. Yeah,
and they were like, "What?" And I literally remember you looking over to us because we were on that like the people carrier, and you were just like, and Phil was like a rabbit in headlights, like. We were shooting with guns. They're in the back. Guns in the back.
Smithy was genuinely worried, and I was like, "It's fine. Look, don't worry about it." Because in back of my van was just like stock from
everything.
Bottom.
All of our stuff was in your van.
I had everything in my van. I had gun cases, ghillies. I had what's his face? Who was Adriano?
Yeah, you had Alex and Adriano.
Alex. No, not Adriano. Alex, wasn't it? Alex, he had the stuff that he took. Why he took all this stuff? He had like a chest. He had like a dive tank. He had like everything. It's
because he was running his Polar Star Jack, I think, or something.
It took off like a quarter of my van, all this stuff alone. And there was just that. So my van was completely weighed down, and they pulled us to one side after Phil's comment at customs. And then they just went over my van, and they said, "Oh, can you get out of the car?" I said, "Yeah, I got out." And then Smithy sort of got out. He was, "Oh, what's going on?" And then yeah, can you out the back? So I opened back up, and there's all these gun cases in there. And they said, "Oh, where you been?" I said, "I've been to an airsoft event in France." Like told them where. And they said, "Oh, okay." So I've got my Yukaras. Like I've got my Yukara on me. Smithy had his. I said, "We've even got like documentation. I think from when we played out there." They went, what's airsoft then? They started having this chat about what it was. It's like paintball, because you have to kind of say it's like paintball to kind of narrow.
It's the easiest way to get it.
Easiest way to get out of it. Oh, right, okay. All right, well, that's all right then. Yeah, off you go. And off we went. And that was it. But it was just that whole thinking, because when we was coming back across the border, getting out of there, we got stopped as well.
They couldn't care, though. They're like, where are you going? France. What are you doing? Shooting stuff. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, but no, when we was going out, I got pulled to one side as well, and I opened it up, and the guy thought it was all fishing stuff. And I went, no, it's airsoft stuff. And he went, what's that? And I said, it's like paintball. And he went, oh, right, okay, off you go. And that was it. But coming back, there was like armed police and everything, like just like across the border. It was, I was actually thinking, oh, okay. And then,
do you remember the second time? Obviously, Paul hired that people carrier.
No, that was the first time.
Was that the first time? And it died on the motorway. Like, we couldn't go over like 20 miles an hour, could we?
Yeah.
And then obviously they would. Oh, yeah. And then, who was it? Was it
Terry?
Terry.
Fucking
nearly mowing down pedestrians. Left, wrong side of the road. Oh, painful.
Yeah, he was. No, that was Smithy, wasn't it? When we come out, he
both
drove.
of them. They're both terrible.
They were on the wrong side, going up the curb and everything. It was like, Smithy, you're on the wrong side of the road. Oh no, okay, back he goes, like in his way.
Painful.
Me and Kenny are sitting in the back, and Kenny's just like, "Christ, I hope I get home." And then coming home, because we had to change the van, didn't we? They had to give us another van, and it was hammering it down. Absolutely couldn't see a thing. And he's doing about 80 up the M20, and it's literally I'm sitting in the back thinking, Christ, just let me get home.
Is this you're like this is how I die? This is how it ends.
Yeah,
just
it's not
in the rain.
In a minute, my rifle's going to literally take my head off because it's in a case like literally right by my head.
Do you remember when we scared the shit out of Brad when we all screamed? So for those that don't know, so we were in the people carrier, and there's like 8 of us in there, and we had a guy called Brad with us. He's a good friend of ours. He runs a blog called On My MK, and he made the mistake of falling asleep. So we're driving down this road, and then I can't remember who. I think it might have even been Kenny. Goes, guys, think Brad's asleep, and then we're all like, oh yeah, he is. Got an idea. What? On the count of 3, we're going to put the brakes on and all scream. Without any hesitation, everyone goes, yeah, I'm in. 1, 2, 3, brake on. And then he's like, And we're all there.
He proper crapped himself, didn't he?
We took 10 years off his life.
To be fair to Brad, I mean, that was the first time I'd met him, and when we was out in France, and we were tasked with we had to get to the top of the fort, didn't we? And we got up there, and me and Brad was watching this rope ladder way to get up, and he's there, and and Mustang U and that are all dotted around the top of this fort. And now sooner or later, I thought they're going to come up. There's a group going to come up there, and we're just going to ambush them. And there was about 6 or 7 guys in PMC stuff come up the rope ladder. And as they're coming up, Brad's like on the radio, like proper, like going, they're coming up the radio. I was like, yeah. Calm down a bit. As they come up, he goes, they're here. And I was like, yeah, no, let's get them. So pistol, we unloaded on them. I took 4 out of a pistol, blah, blah, blah. And then this guy come and sat next to me, started talking to me, thinking I was on his team, but he wasn't. He was on the other team. And then he's in my ear. He's on the radio going, Hutchy, he's the enemy. I'm like, well, no, I can't say anything because, like, And as soon as he got and walked off, I shot him. And he was like, what are you doing? Why are you shooting me? I said, because, and he was, and then, because he's on the radio in a Mustang, it's actually on one of, I think, his videos. Him and Camman and Smithy come bombing around the top of this fort. And just these guys, because they're talking while they're dead, they're just unloading on them, unloading these, and they're talking when they're dead, just shoot him, keep shooting him. It was actually a really good experience. But Brad was like, oh no, what's going on? It's cool, proper like.
France is brilliant.
Yeah, it was great.
So we've had some more questions come in and comments. So the question is, I've just put up on the stream from Joe Smith, which are, what are your thoughts on Apocalypse Airsoft? I've heard bad thing about the way it's run. So I'll go first because I've played.
Yeah,
I've played once when it was run by APOC, the guys, and it was okay. It was a pretty standardish skirmish. I personally had no complaints. But the site, I played Sniper Ops, and that is where I met you, Mark, at the very first APOC with Paul as well, and don't think Kenny was that one, but it was the first time I met you and James and everyone in person. So the site I thought was really good, and I played one game, which is just like a normal Sunday skirmish, and I had no problems. It was absolutely fine. So for me, it's okay. I've heard mixed things about it, but I personally haven't had any problem there. Hutchy, I imagine you've played everywhere, so I'm guessing you've played there other than at the sniper ups.
Yeah, no, we'd say we've done the sniper ops game. And what I would say, Apocalypse for terrain wise and site wise, it's a really good site. It's probably one of the best sites in the south, I would say, for site and terrain. It's varied. It's got different types of woodland structures. You know, just unfortunately, the games are not the best. Even said that the last time I played there with James Hamilton, actually, the game was they were fairly long, but it didn't really make any sense. It was very sort of like backwards and forwards. It was a bit like no one knew really what was going on, so we were just I don't know what's going on. And then the lunch is always very long there. So we had it was a long game. We didn't get kick off to about 10:30, 11:15, I think it was. And then it was a long game, and then went back for lunch, very long lunch break. And then we had a game which kind of lasted an hour-ish, and then it was start back, and then it was another little game if you wanted it. But so it was a bit, but yeah, I mean, is it worth £35 walk-on fee? Not really. I think it would be worth, if it was more 25 quid, you could probably justify it. And there's also a massive hill that you need to walk up to it as well, unless you've got a 4x4 which you can drive up. So yeah, there is that to sort of take into factor. But overall, it's a good site. Good thing. It's just not run the best, if I can say that.
Yeah, no, it's fair. The thing is, I've been to sites and I've gone, I thought that was shit, and then other people I'm with are like, I thought it was really good. Like, I think it is subjective. Why is this being a pain? Someone's asked a question, and it's a relevant question. I'm trying to get it to. I
would add as well, they do have the bang rule at APOC.
That makes me sad inside.
I done there was a little clip that I put up not too long ago where there's a guy, and I'm shooting a 226, which wasn't shooting very well at all, very underpowered, and the BB was just sort of like just doing that out of it. And I run up, put two at a guy, one hit him, one missed. He's right by a marshal. And as he's gone back inside the structure, he's sort of, his hands sort of like through the door or like in the doorway with holding the gun. So I just shoot him in the hand from about 6 feet away. And then the marshal goes, "Oh no, you're too close there." He said, "You should have banged him there." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, bang rules. This comes up on nearly every bloody stream where I'm talking to an airsofter. The bang rule.
Yep.
I absolutely understand the intention behind having it, but it just doesn't work. People get annoyed. They get frustrated. Like, people would be less annoyed if you shot them at 5 meters than if you get the drop of them and you're like, bang. And then they have to look at your silly face going, bang. Like, I think people get more annoyed by that than if you just put one in their arse cheek.
Exactly. It's more fun as well, shooting people.
So annoyingly, this question won't publish, but it's from Robert Manders, and it's specifically for me, this one. But it saves me having to then talk about this tomorrow. Am I planning on making GBB compatible parts for the TAC 41 GBB chamber? Yes, I have them. They landed. What day is it? Friday. They landed yesterday. So they're just finishing QC. So for people that have already got a WASP, you can get 3 variants of it. So you can either buy... So if you're not using a WASP and you're using another GBB cylinder piston, then you can buy the damper head GBB spec. So that'll work with GBB brakes. You can buy the head with the brakes for the WASP. So if you've got a WASP, you'll get 2 replacement fatter brakes and you'll get a GBB compatible damper head. Or you can just buy the GBB WASP brakes if you've already bought a GBB silverback head. If that makes sense. So basically, if you've got a WASP, you can buy the head and a set of brakes. If you've got a WASP but the silverback gas blowback head, you can just buy the brakes. And if you've got an entirely different piston but the gas blowback chamber, then you can just buy the GBB damper head. And they should, depending on how QC goes over the weekend, maybe be out from sort of Tuesday onwards at all the usual shops. Empire, all the European shops usually get them a week later. So like Amped, One Shot, Mantis, MIR Tactical, Airsoft Store.be. So they should all have the new GBB parts coming alongside FPS rings and new SRS cylinder, Teflon cylinder that's coming out later this month. But yeah, I just didn't want to miss that because will just forget to tell people that I've actually made them.
The amount of people actually were asking me about your like Teflon cylinder for the SRS, and they said, "Oh well, I need to get one. I was like, I don't know. You know, you need to kind of wait a while, I think, because like but yeah, they're like gold dust, believe it or not. Those
yeah, the old Teflon ones are. I'm gonna try and find if I took a picture of the ones that I've just done. So, for anyone who gets the joke, I will show you this picture, and Blue Lips will probably have a 3D render in a couple of days. A lot of people will get the Blue Lips reference, but this is what is coming.
Just do it really quickly so he can't watch it.
So that is a Teflon cylinder, updated to the latest specs of silverback receivers, and it is honeycombed.
Lovely.
To go with the WASP and honeycomb and hexagons, etc. So I've got about 3 of those at the workshop that I need to send out to a couple of testers. And then, yeah, if that goes all right, then hopefully they'll be out soon, along with some other parts, including potentially the AEG Flamingo, which is with testers, including Hadron's got one. I think Silly Gilly might have one. I don't know if he's installed it in his MTW yet. Luke from Negative Airsoft.
Must have one. Foxy must have one.
Foxy's got one. He's got an older one and a newer one. And he's got my new VSR bucking. So there's a lot of stuff coming. It's obviously just all money. All money. Panic print. Yeah. Panic redesign. Yeah. There you go. People know who we're talking about. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jonathan Mays saying, what are you asking? Can I publish that? Does that work? This Facebook keeps changing how they do stuff, so I'll get to grips of how I do it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I've got my stream set up. And then it's just like, not anymore. I'm like, what do you mean not anymore? Why doesn't that button do that thing it did last time? Like, because normally
you know more about this stuff than me. I know nothing about tech.
Well, normally you can quickly just there you go. Jonathan May, we love Jonathan. If anyone, I've never met Jonathan in person, but I speak to him quite a lot.
Met Jonathan a few times. Nice guy, really nice
everyone
guy.
I know that knows him as well, when I'm like, I've never met him in person, but I do talk to him, everyone universally says, oh, he's a lovely guy. Really nice guy. Because I think he said, next time I go to Lakes, tell him, because he might make the journey down.
Yeah, I've played with Jonathan probably 3 times, maybe now, three or 4 times. He made a trip up to Driverwood once. Phoenix, we come up, we had a weekend up there. It was a good weekend.
Phoenix is somewhere I want to go. That's somewhere I have heard is good.
Enjoy that. Yeah. It was when we went up there. It was me, Mustang, Steve, Hadron, and Jonathan. We were all up there together.
Hadron, didn't he?
Oh, Foxy was there as well.
And Foxy. Oh, sly Foxy. Yeah, Jonathan May was asking, what's the stock of TAC 41 Wasps like? I've just built 200, I think. Yeah, I think I just built 200 SRS and TAC Wasps that have just gone live, and all the shops that stock it have ordered it. So I think they're fine.
It is without doubt the number one upgrade that you must have if you've got a bolt action and you can get a Wasp for it. You know, I mean, there are a few bolt actions which obviously that Wasp hasn't been made for, or for some reasons hasn't happened. But VSR, SSG 10, VSR 10, SRS, the
thing you were getting at there is the Scout. So
we know though.
First, so question from someone first is, Danny, you're releasing an AG Flamingo bucket and I need one for the MP5. Yes, I am. It's been in the works for a long time. But if you've ever taken an AEG apart, they're all over the place. You can buy 5 AEGs from the same company, and the nozzles, how they feed, the lip tension will all be different. So I've spent a long time working with a lot of other testers and people that have got an interest in me getting this bucking done. So it is coming, but I just won't rush it because you can't get it wrong. Because when you make a piston for the tack, it's just got to fit in a tack cylinder. It's not a problem. If you make a piston for the SSG-10, provided you know how to measure a cylinder, it will fit an SSG-10. When you're doing an AEG, everything is different. Every company makes a different one, so it is coming. And then going back to you, Mark. So the Scout WASP, which I was trying to talk to you on your video the other day, but I had to go. Yeah, so I have a Scout WASP. My Scout is in that corner there. Yep, there. It's in there. Size-wise, it's similar to a VSR. Everyone's being misled that it's the same as a VSR. It isn't. It's dimensionally different to a VSR. The spring guide is dimensionally different to a VSR. The cup is different to a VSR, close to being an SSG-10 size, which is why the one I have works, but it isn't as efficient as I'd like it to be, and I think I can do better. But because it's on a narrow cylinder with a short barrel, how the weight and brakes work has to be different. So the long brake loses a lot more power in that platform than it does on like a 300mm SSG-10 or a 300mm VSR-10. So I've got one that functions and it's consistent and it's quiet. Jonathan May has one. He has one of my prototype WASPs. But at the moment, the consistency is as good as stock. The power was only about the same as what you'd get stock, but it was phenomenally quiet. And that's all great, but I need to work out the best way to get that cup sealing in those cylinders, because the cylinders have got a very odd finish inside. They're not just your standard polished. They are coated, and that coating doesn't like gripping certain polymers unless you're doing a very aggressive shape, but then you end up with your rubber cups coming, like they fray. Like, I don't know if you've taken a Scout apart, but because of the way they're made, the guide rings wear a lot quicker than a VSR one, and even the outside of the cup gets a bit, it's not splintered, there's a word I'm looking for, it's like frayed, abrasions, because it has to rely on such force going outwards to seal rather than just the friction of the material, and the friction of the material is generally what you can get away with. That's why O-rings work. So it's coming, but I'm not going to release something that just makes your rifle quieter. It's pointless, because I could just release a cylinder, like a specific head and cup that would do that. I want to make a WASP that is going to do what it does in other platforms. And it's a small market, and I've seen others rush to say their product fits when it doesn't, or release a product that doesn't. It does what I just said it does. It will make it consistent and quiet, but it won't give it any of the weighted gains that you would expect to get. So it is coming. And I dug it out the other day, and I shit you not, Hutchy, I took this out of my drawer, and then you messaged me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I've had a striker WASP for a long time, and I literally was thinking the other day, I was like, I've got this list of projects that I need to finish, and I was going through it, and I was like, right, I've done that one, that's released, that's with the factory, that's over there for QC, that didn't work, that I've got to redesign. And then I was like, striker WASP, well, I've got that somewhere. Wadded out the back and I'm raiding through my drawers, and I'm like, and I was like, oh, I've got one. I was like, why didn't it work? Go back and I'm measuring it, and then I get a message, bloop, bloop, Hutchy, I've got the WASP working in the striker.
It's really weird, because when we were testing originally, we got the power up in the heavyweight piston, and in the stock cylinder, the power was up there, and I ran it a few games, and it was shooting phenomenal. It was with the Smithy arm, and the Flamingo, it was shooting so well. And then because we were doing ongoing QC, like trying different weights as you would do with testing, for some reason I took it apart and I put it back together again, and it just disappeared. The power just wouldn't go up. I couldn't get it above a certain point, and that's why it just kind of got to that point where we kind of just sort of hold fire on it for.
And there wasn't a huge market. Like, you think I was doing this a couple of years ago, before the AS02 was out. It was just the AS01. So people were kind of put off by it, because obviously they had the pin cylinders and things. Whereas now, obviously, it's getting a lot more traction. I like the strikers. I think they can be made to be very quiet. They're very light. The real mag placement's cool. They've got a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? You can do a lot with them in terms of customizing.
Yeah. I mean, you can go like a lot of sniper rifles, but with a striker, because the bolts, the cylinder and the bolt system is just that one pin, and you just slide it out. You know, it's quite easy to tech on as well. You know, it's fairly straightforward. And the other day when I was down and I wanted to fit a Mancraft kit in it, which I've only got one system left, and I couldn't get it to work because it was leaking, and I don't know why. It's obviously probably just old and had it, a bit like me. And basically,
now that you've got an age,
letting air out everywhere. And I found, obviously, I've always had the prototype WASP, and I just thought, look, you know what? While I'm here, let me just have a little play with it for about an hour. It sounds really rude. And then I just put it in, and I had a load of different springs. I was trying different springs, and there was a few of them coming out. One was really low, a few of them were low. A couple of them were where we were just talking about. There was like that sort of like power that wasn't quite enough. I was thinking, So I rummaged around a bit more, found another spring, and I thought, I'll try this one. Put it in. It was there's probably about 3 springs left to try. I put this spring in. I put it in. Obviously, I didn't need to adjust the hop because I thought I'll have the hop set, so then it gave me a correct reading of power. And then the power was like bang, it was like 2.4 joule. I was like, oh, here we go. And I was like, bang, it was just going through 2.3, 2.3, 2.3. And I was like, I think I've got it. I think it's come back. I think I found a spring. I think I've got. And then I've done some shots with it and some test shots with it, and it's flying out. It's not flying as great with as what it was before, because I've got an AA hop chamber in there with an Autobot 60, because that's all I had knocking about. And but it's flying fairly out there. It's getting it out there. But if I had a Smithy arm and I had a Flamingo, then with those two things, it would be a really, really good flight path. But the power for it is consistent. And like I did a live stream the other day, and it was 2.3, It seems to be getting better, but I used the PTFE dry lube stuff, which I always use when I'm spraying on the cup head. And that's without an air brake as well. So, and it's quite quiet without an air brake.
Yeah, that's why I like them, because even without an air brake, because they're low volume and they're relatively solid in terms of, they're not like the VSR where you've got like a lot of cavities in the stock, which are obviously reverberations, all that crap. So that's on my list of projects, is to either do a WASP for the striker, and see if my 60-90-120 formula works, because that seems to be the standard. Yeah. And ironically, everyone who's, choose my words carefully here, taking inspiration from my design, because people forget I was the first person to make a weight adjustable piston before anyone else. Everyone was cutting the air brakes off and drilling holes in their pistons to make it quieter. But everyone who's taken inspiration, no matter what weight they go to or their adjustment, nearly everyone will have a setup. When you go, so what did you settle on? You had all that adjustment. What did you settle on? Well, I'm running a 3-joule spring with 90 grams. Strange. Someone else, I'm running this, and I'm running the 60-gram equivalent. Also strange. What about you? I'm running the heaviest weight. What does that weigh? Oh, about 123 grams. Strange. So it's all 60, 90, 120. Even Novrich has obviously come out with his version of a weighted adjustable silent piston. And guess what it adjusts between? 60 and 100 grams.
Exactly, yeah, 100%. And even the piston,
like someone done all the hard work for him.
Even the piston that I picked up the other day for the Scout, again, exactly the same weights. It was that bam, 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 bam. But unfortunately, with that, I mean, I've done a little live regarding this piston that I've got, and I was quite disappointed the fact that it wouldn't, at times, if you didn't put it in properly. There's obviously a certain way you put in, but there's times where you couldn't even get it to sort of catch onto the sear.
And the reason for that is, and you know what, I'll help every designer out there that's profiting off of designs. Your distance between your sear. What the hell? Oh, it's stars. Something just bleeped in my ear. Oh, for anyone that doesn't know, I got stars recently from Facebook. I think you had this, Hutchy.
Yeah, I have as well, yeah.
So after years of doing my blog and my website and stuff in the Facebook have now decided that people can send stars to support the Facebook. So I think it's on. I know it's on because a few people have already kindly sent some stars, which is greatly appreciated. Never expected, but obviously it all goes to help. Like if I get 25 quid a month doing videos, that's my website paid for, so that's all bloody useful.
Exactly. Very helpful.
I'm gonna publish this comment because this tickled me and is accurate. Is it gonna work? Publish.
I'm surprised there's not.
There we go.
I can't read them because it's like.
So this comment is from Hadron, and it just says, "Control and C, Control and V saves the R and D." I like it. I like it.
Oh, Steve.
Steve, you cheeky. You're cheeky. You're crazy. Yeah. Crazy Gusty. But yeah, what else was I going to say? So when are you thinking of next playing? I think I'm going to Lakes. Funny enough, Ryan, who's in the chat now, who's sending me stars. Thank you very much, Ryan.
He's a hunk of a man, that Ryan.
He's a lovely man, and he's generally a really nice person.
He is.
He's one of few people who touches me, in terms of like he'll hug me, and you know what I'm like with people touching me. Like someone goes to hug me, and I'm like, get off me.
Kenny though, Kenny must do it all the time though.
No, Kenny hates it. Kenny he goes to touch me, and I just give him a death glare, and then Brian comes in and just like,
that's true with Kenny. He wants people to touch him. He just doesn't like touching us.
Kenny loves affection.
Yeah,
he's like a cat. You got to get under his chin.
Yeah, purrs.
But yeah, Ryan was talking to me the other day, and he said about going to Lakes on a Saturday. So when I find out when that is, maybe we can go there.
Well, I'm away on holiday from.
You said
this weekend, so I'm away I'm not back till the 17th. So I'm away.
I think it's around the middle of the month we're going, so that might work out all right.
Yeah.
Which would be pretty cool.
We've got a National Airsoft Festival coming up as well, I think, then towards the end this month, which I might have got a green light to go. But I might pop down to that. I'm not quite sure yet. I've not paid or done anything for it because it's a long weekend, isn't it? Well, say a long weekend. But I'm not quite sure yet whether I'm doing that or not. But yeah, definitely do something.
So with the NAF NAE thing, do you know a guy called Phil? He's called the Fat Gillian Instagram, and he has a company called Jaws and Claws, and he does all like the bugs and the snakes. Yeah. Again, he's a friend of Ryan's. He's from that group of people that I go to Lakes with, and he's really nice.
Yeah, I think he was at Emperium last time I was there.
He was running the Nov SXX 303 and the AAP that I built him with the Loki. Yeah,
it was a really hot day as well, and I kind of felt sorry for him because he was proper struggling towards the end. It was like, I felt really bad. We all, it was a roasting day anyway, but wearing a ghillie in that sort of conditions, it takes it out of you. It really does. But
yeah, he was talking about NA because I remember back in the day, because I've never been. I would have a heart attack, like anxiety level through the roof. It would terrify me.
Yeah, I've not been.
But he was saying about just going for the social, because I know they used to be able to buy a ticket, like a day ticket. Yeah. Like if you wanted to play for just one day, you could buy a day ticket. Right. Or you could have like a visitor's pass if you wanted to go and see all the stalls, because you've obviously got like Kydit's Customs are there, Viper are there, Enola Gay. I think there's quite a few shops that are going, and 01 obviously. Mm-hmm. Then I was looking on the website the other day, and there's no day passes now. You have to pay for the whole weekend, but there's a non-gaming camper fee, which is like 20 quid. So I think it's basically a visitor's pass. So he said about going up. So potentially we might try and get a couple of us just to go up, maybe have a few beers in the evening, and then the next day go around and look at the little boot sale bit and the other stores and stuff, because it'd be cool for us, because it's sort of central to where we all are, because obviously me, Ryan, and are all down south. I
think there is quite a few people going. I know Foxy, Cam Man, Jonathan May's going, Ed's going.
So it could be good if we can all just somehow meet up sometime there.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys. I think a guy called Adam Smith and his friend are going. There's quite a few people going, but it's just a question. I mean, I've never really been one for it because of, like you, I just want to shoot people. I wasn't really that fussed of going somewhere and all of that. I don't know. That's all I wanted to go there for. And then I heard the whole hit taking that was really poor. And I've played at Ground Zero quite a few times, and it's a good site, big. But yeah, and then because people kept on at me, I thought, what, I might just give it a go just to see what it's like, just for the once. So, and it's worked out this week the way it's this year. My shifts off that weekend.
Before I forget, and I think I end up banging on about this every time I stream, but there's a site down Worthing, and it's where I started Airsoft, like back when I was like 16. It used to be called Elite Action Games, and now I think is it still called that?
Worthing Airsoft it's called now.
Is it any good? I've not been there in over 10 years.
Well, I've played Worthing a few times. I think I've had
I thought it was you. Because I think Ed went, didn't he?
Yeah, me, Ed, and James Hamilton, who was in the chat. Why
do I reckon his name? James Hamilton. Why does that ring a bell?
I don't think you've not met him. He's
not in person, but
he's plays with me and Ed when we played. He's good airsofter.
Is he in construction?
No, he's not in construction.
Just because Ed was round the other day and he had a friend with him who airsofted, and he was in like construction. I was like, I wonder if it's the same guy.
I don't think it was him. I'm not sure. I might be wrong. Could be, but I don't think it was him. He probably would have mentioned it otherwise. But yeah, he's I think he's going down there as well. So yeah, it could be good. And like I say, the way Worthing's a good site, and the last few times I went down there, the games were pretty decent. Had no issues or anything like that.
The site used to be good. It was like a woodland site with like ravines and like valleys in between. So you'd have like there used to be a really cool bit called the Dark Woods.
Yep.
And it was like tall trees where there was no branches below like 7 feet, so you could easily walk through it with dugout trenches. But the canopy was so thick that in summer it was just almost black in there. And it was dark woods. And I remember playing there like back when I had like a JG Bar 10 or whatever it would have been, and a Cymer M14. And then obviously I moved from where I lived in Brighton to where I am now years ago. And I've just never been back. Like no one I know ever knew about it or plays there. Obviously they're all sort of this end. But I'd absolutely love to go there again. I used to know the guy that ran it, but he passed away probably 7 or 8 years ago now. A guy called Tom Andrews. But I think a guy called Jim runs it now. He was there when I used to go there. So it'd be cool to see if I see any familiar faces.
Yeah, I mean, you say I've always had pretty decent days down there, and I think one of the last times I went down there, Mike Liddon was down there as well.
Spoke to him loads. Again, there's so many people that I talk to and like I get on with and I chat to that I just haven't had the luxury of meeting in person yet.
Lovely guy, Mike. Doesn't he do Raffia? He does Raffia.
Is that? Oh no, that's Sonny.
No, that's Sonny. Sonny done a Raffia. Mike, he runs his suit's really good. His crafting's really good. He runs an MTW or a HPA M4 type. So that's his go-to, I think now. Something like that.
So annoyingly, I can't publish these questions because this card thing's not how I thought it was going to work. Because apparently cards used to be where you'd ask a question and then you'd say, yeah, I want to see that question, and it would pop up on the stream. Now it doesn't. Now it makes a card that blocks it. So I'm just going to read them out. So Jeff Slack, he's come into a few of my streams. He's friends with Solitron. He's a really nice guy. He's asking, I assume both of us, what sniper that isn't out or doesn't exist yet would be your dream rifle? And I'll let you go over that first.
I don't really know, mate, to be perfectly honest with you. Well, the striker, there isn't, as far as I'm aware, there isn't a real steel striker, is there?
No, the closest thing to that would be something like the Magpul X22, which is like a 2.2 stock for the mine's gone blank. The 2.2 rifle, the main 2.2 rifle.
Yep.
Not the KCO, whatever the KCO2 is modelled on. Cannot for the life of me remember it, but Magpul make a stock for that, which isn't far off.
Where real steel's concerned, I have no idea. I've so for me, but I was talking to Smithy, and Smithy says, or remember what Smith was telling me, that there isn't a real steel version of the striker. So if there was a real steel version of the Striker, then yeah, I'd love to sort of see that. I know obviously the Scout, because it's licensed, there's a real steel version of that. I would like to maybe have a go, see what that's like, you know, a real steel version of that. But
my one just come out. The gun that I've wanted for a long, long, long time was the Enfield, the L42A1 and the original, like, old school Enfield.
Yeah.
And they've obviously both come out now by Ares, which is fine. I don't mind Ares. Internally, I think they're a mix of, like, a few different things. I want to get my hands on one, but they're freaking expensive. I think, like, even if I can get it at trade price, it's still insanely expensive for what it is.
Doesn't James Parker, hasn't he made Piston and stuff?
He has, but I wouldn't be inclined to use it just because of I trust his part. I don't trust the rest of the gun, if that makes sense. Like, I've got no quibbles with his parts. Like, I guarantee I know exactly how much that piston weighs as well. Like, me and James have spoken numerous times in the past about pistons and things.
Yeah.
It's the rest of it that I'm not sure of.
Yeah,
yet.
Generally the Ares parts are QC-wise not the best. They're all very different, and none two Airsoft Ares rifles are probably the same. I know that from my Striker experience. So,
but yeah, that does tickle my fancy, and if I can basically, depending on obviously how sales go with the new product releases and things, I obviously want to buy some new stuff so I can do some new content. Completely unrelated, but I think my next stream, actually, I'll ask you a question first, because then I can segue into what I wanted to ramble about. Do you run comms?
Sometimes, but not a lot.
Why? And this generally annoys me, because Ed doesn't run comms. Kenny doesn't run comms. But me and Ryan, we always play as a pair. We've started to run comms, and it makes all the difference. I
think it's just come down to, for me, it's come down to not having probably the right comms. When I've run it before, like when we've done the Sniper Ops events and when we was in France, I've just had a Baofeng radio with an earpiece. And sometimes I think it's getting one that works to your...
Yeah, that is definitely a big part of it.
You know, your needs. Where I've never really found one that's kind of worked. It works, you know, it's not been right for me. That's why I tend to not... I've tried different things. I've tried wearing an earpiece. I've tried it where it's just up here on tight and it's on low. But generally, no. I mean, if I'm skirmishing or if I'm playing a ground war or Emperium or something like that, I don't run comms. You know, 9 times out of 10, if you start off with someone like, it's pointless me even wearing comms, if me and Ed were wearing comms, because he'd just bugger off somewhere. I'd follow him. I'd medic him back in. Then he'd go off and he'd get shot and he'd go back to spawn, and I'd be on my own anyway. So it's like, that's how that sort of work. But if it was like a proper milsim event where you'd need to be in contact with your unit or your squad, then yeah, you'd pretty much would need to wear one, I'd say. But for skirmishing,
I get what you're saying there. So same as you, I had a Baofeng, not the UVR5, like the one down from that.
Yeah.
Same as you, had it there, and obviously that is from Sniper Ops days. And I found it, I didn't really use it because you had to have it quiet so no one could hear you.
Yeah. But then you're not picking up.
And then you're not really hearing anything, you're rustling in your suit and stuff, and then you do turn it up, and then someone's like, blah, 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 and then you get shot. So I started using the earpiece. And then I was at a game probably a couple of months ago with Ryan, and we had comms with the rest of the team, and then we had a second channel that was just us. So basically, when we were doing our thing, we were on one channel, and then when we were doing like objective stuff that we needed to feed back, we switched channels. And I had an in-ear thing. And then Val, who obviously runs Battle Lakes, me and him, I don't know how it's happened, but we've now got this little rivalry because I built his sniper, and he now loves to shoot me with it.
That's unusual for him. He was always into his gas blowback stuff.
And he's done me with a few times with his gas, but he had the VSR out not the last time I played, but the time before. And he got me twice in the morning. No one else got me. No one even come close to me. And he got me on the left side both times. And I realised it's because the in-ear mic, it just made me deaf in that side, and I could not hear anything. And I was like, oh, that's really annoying, because having the comms made me and Ryan play very differently. Like, we were able to, like, not lose track of each other, because we'd pick out a landmark and we'd be like, right, I'm to the south of it, I'm to the west of it. Or if there was a group of targets, we wouldn't both try taking them out and end up going for the same guy and then alerting the other two. We'd very much be like, right, I'm going for the guy with the tan vest. All right, I'll go for the guy with the MC plate carrier.
Yeah.
Like, Ryan, be careful, there's someone next to you. And then he stops moving and then MK's someone. So then I was like, okay, so I like the headset, didn't like the in-ear. So I bought a Bowman headset, which is like just one ear with a mic.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was comfortable. I bought a cheap one. It lasted me until that afternoon. Both the headset went and the PTT, and I was like, God damn it. It was only like 35 quid. But then I remember talking to Tim and Richie from the Heresy group, and they mentioned a company called JCI Comms, who's a British company.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I'm really enjoying it, do I want to invest in it? Like, I've not bought myself anything for ages. Like, I haven't bought any new games. I haven't bought anything that isn't a work thing, if that makes sense. So I was like, you know what, maybe I'm going to invest in a headset. So I messaged JCI Comms, and I was like, oh, I've heard about you through this company. You know, basically, I bought this and I liked the setup. It was just shit.
Yeah.
Like, and he was like, okay, well, I wire them. So, like, you'll get, like, high quality stuff that's wired to how you want. So it's like, how long do you want this bit that goes into the PTT? How do you want the bit from the PTT to the radio? What radio are you using? What connections? And it was going through everything. And I gave him all the details, and he was just like, it's this much money. I was like, okay, great. Didn't hear anything for about a week. Get a message. It's all done. Sends me a picture, and he's like, and I'm going to give you this. And he gives me like a case. He's like, and I'll give you this case. And he's like, what strap do you want? And I was like, oh, just an OD one. And he was like, okay, I've got a genuine multicam one. Great. How much is that? No, that's fine. He sends it to me. I get it. I put it on, and quality was night and day. And I genuinely am excited to run that at the next event, because the way it sits on your ear is it sits away from your ear, so it doesn't block any sound.
Right.
Which so it's kind of open.
That's the thing. It's that little sort of like it's kind of a distraction, because it kind of
I've got it here.
Does over that.
So the PTT's behind me somewhere. I think it's on my curse your inverted camera on my rig there. Yeah. So I got the Bowman headset.
Yep.
Which I don't know if it's not a clone one, because my clone one, this was changeable, so you could put it on different sides.
Right.
But it came with a genuine multicam strap, which is good. Decent wiring, because this is nice and flexible. The other stuff was like cheap, crappy, hard plastic. Yep. And the connection on the, I think it was Z Tactical or Z parts that I bought. This was literally like wonky, straight out of the box and half fitting. So the quality, when I picked this up, I was like, it's expensive, but worth it. But the earpiece, so this sits around your ear, and it feels like it's soft silicon. Yeah. And then obviously this bit is open, so your ear doesn't touch it. So you're not getting blocked when you've got it on. So from like the outside, it's still very much open. Yeah. And it's really comfortable. A lot louder. Like, I had my radio on like half, and that was like a good volume for the shitty version. That was a mistake. Put it on, turned the radio on, and it was like, Channel 5! And I was like, Jesus Christ. But,
well, it'd be
I like comms. It's generally made me enjoy Sniper more, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's 9 times out of 10, you know, where comms is concerned, for me, I don't think I've come across anything like that yet. So that's probably why I've not chose to run it. But at the same time, I quite like not having anything sort of. I know I've got a GoPro on my head, on a boonie, but I've got nothing on my ears. And I kind of like that sort of listening, you know, because a lot of the time you can hear people creeping up, or you can hear people moving around. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see how you get on with that sort of here.
Yeah, so the cheap one worked fine, and I was generally really happy with it, and I found it didn't impact my hearing. It was just really shit quality. Yeah. Whereas that I quite like, and I run the radio in like a charger pack, and I've got like a whip antenna thing. So at Battle Lakes it's fine. Like, me and Ryan could be either end of Battle Lakes and the rest of our team, and it's absolutely fine.
Quite flat though, isn't it?
Yeah, but quite thick. Like, especially in summer, obviously everything gets massive in there. Yeah. But I've really enjoyed using it. I think it makes it a bit more, not enjoyable, what's the word? I just feel more productive. Like, when you're on your own, if you're not getting a kill, you're useless. Like, you're not contributing to your team. Like, if you're not on a radio and you're not getting the kills, you're not doing anything. Whereas if you're on a radio, but you're not necessarily getting loads of kills, but you're in a good position, and because like we were playing it, was just like there was a bit where we were just sort of wandering around, and then there was like, I can't remember, was it like an ammo box with a button that we had to press, and we were just like,
found it
on the radio, like, guys, are we looking for a box with a couple of switches? And they're like, yeah, I'm like, oh, we're here. Click it, and we're like, oh, we're just gonna go and watch it then. So we just sat on the radio, and it was like, right, which direction are you coming? And they're like, we're coming this way. I was like, okay, well, we'll just wait. And then yeah, they come one way, and then Ryan's up at the other end, and we're like, all right, yeah, we're now seeing them come down this path.
Yeah.
And we didn't shoot each other because we knew we were there. Because friendly fire is the scourge of being a sniper, right? It is 99% of the time I die, it is my own team.
Yeah.
And I think that rings true for most snipers.
It is. That's part. I've accepted it now. It's part of it. You know, because even people go, "Oh, I can't see your band," or you know, I didn't know you were there, or whatever. It's like, well, you know, part of it is just I've just accepted it as part. That's part of airsoft. Now people just shoot. They get trigger happy and they just shoot anything that moves. Even if you're the only ghillie sniper playing that day, and you're on one team, you will still get shot by your own team. And it doesn't matter if you had an luminous yellow headband around your head, you'd still be shot by your own team. It's just that's just what airsofters are like, you know. And it's just they're like I think Ed put it in a comment somewhere, or maybe he said something. He said they're like fish; they kind of forget very easily.
Well, it's like whenever you play at an airsoft site and there's a big puddle or a pond, you know someone's gonna get their radio, go bat 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 bat. And you're like, well, now we know we're at airsoft.
Is it? Hang on, no. It's a pond, or it's or a puddle, or if there's say like a vehicle, they want to shoot that vehicle to bits, or anything metal, they want to shoot it. It sort of makes a noise.
Gary's just posted, or Camman has just added something. I pinned it. It's the Zello app, and he's saying you can use a Bluetooth push to talk with it. You can re-listen to sent messages. You can add private groups. There's no range limit, and it's digital quality audio. So I think that's an app that you then would just use a Bluetooth headset to your phone, and then it relies on your phone signal rather than radio signal. In which case, that's pretty cool.
When it comes to things like radios and cameras and stuff like that, he's the man to talk to because he's
I've seen him do some really cool mods and fixes on cams on there's a group that I think him and Ed do. For the
filming.
Airsoft filming, whatever it's called, and I always see him and I think you post some helpful stuff on there as well. I think.
Well, I mean, I know a little bit. I don't know as much as what Ed and Camman knows, you know. And so so they know and they've got an abundance of knowledge. So it's fun enough actually. Ed's sorted a camera out for me. I should be getting a new. Well, not new. I've got to manage someone. Very kindly gave me a broken Scopecam, new Scopecam, and I gave it to Ed, and he's very kindly.
I think you've still got mine. I think you've got a Scopecam 2 somewhere. I
have.
It was the one that it would not focus. It was a brand new one they sent me, and it just would not focus.
Yeah, I think that's it there.
Yeah. Oh, I've got the not the newer one, but you know the round one, the one that looks like a. Yeah, I've got that now. Not that I bloody use it.
But I've got a Scopecam, the Runcam Scopecam, whatever it is, and I've been running it for that for quite a while now. And but the camera I've got is a little bit more quality, picture quality. So I was very kindly given that by a guy called Ninja Assassins Ghillie, Gareth.
Oh yeah, Gareth Tunstall.
Yeah, lovely guy.
Yeah, he is really nice actually. We bully Kenny.
Yeah, he's a bully.
He only ever messages Kenny.
He's a bully.
With the word Hobbit at the end of it. Like, otherwise, he won't talk to him. He's like Hobbit.
He's a lovely guy. He bought one and he tried. I think the lens got shot out, and he was going to repair it, and he just went and bought another one. And he said to me, "I've got it," and he sent it to me in the post. It just arrived. I was like, "What's this?" And he sent it to me, and I was like, "Oh, for Christ's sake!" So then I gave it to Ed, and he's repaired it for me, which is nice. Lovely.
Yeah, I know Ninja Ghillie. He messaged me when I got the VSR 1 because he had some questions. So we got chatting about that, and then he ended up buying one from Empire. And then we just kept chatting about some other random stuff. And yeah, he just seems like a really nice guy.
I've played with him a few times up at Com Site 3, which is a really good site actually. Good gameplay, well run, and yeah, he's a really nice guy.
Right, we're running over. I see you're looking to the side, so I imagine you're getting ushered. So there's 3 quick questions that we're going to shoot through, just because I don't want to miss them, and then we'll call it the end of the stream. So, question 1 from James Hamilton: why Bolty and not a DMR? And you can go first.
I like the satisfaction. I like the pulling and the racking of the bolt, and I like that one shot. I know you can do the one shot with a DMR and delay it. I just like the whole satisfaction of a one shot, possibly one sort of hit. That's what I like about it.
I'm with you on that. I'm in the middle of building 2 DMRs. I've got one for the bearded airsofter, which is a Spectre Arms M12 that I've put a Mancraft PDIK kit in it that I had spare.
Lovely.
And up there is the 416 that I'm currently building, which is running my prototype Flamingo in there. I would go and get it, but then I'd have to stand up, and I'm wearing shorts, and I'm quite fat today.
So I've got shorts. I wear shorts. Those of you that I wear shorts every day of the year.
You do. Like, I don't think of really seen you in jeans very often. It's always shorts.
Yep.
So that was question 1. So I like bolties and DMRs, but like Mark, I'd like the satisfaction of having to work for that shot and not having. Like, if you make a mistake, there's a lot more at risk than if with a DMR where you can just do a quick follow-up shot.
Yeah.
Next one. Favorite site and worst site? Maybe don't mention their specific names because I don't like the idea of shitting on people.
Nah.
But there's a site that we've both been to, and it was the first time I went there, and I'll never go back. And the reason being, we paid for a full day. We played for maybe an hour and a half. They had children there, one of which broke his ankle, I think, and ruined our entire day. Do you remember the site I'm on about?
I do. We won't mention it.
That, for me, is my worst site because it was the most expensive hour and a half of Airsoft I've ever played. Yeah. And everything that went wrong was wholly avoidable.
Yeah. 100%.
Best site? France. Bear's Head in France. Without a doubt. Yeah. Nothing comes close.
Nothing comes close to that. So it's if it was in the UK, it wouldn't even be open because it'd be a health and safety nightmare.
And it wouldn't be as good. The players are what made that site.
That's what makes it, though. The fact that it is pushing those limits.
Last question then, which is from Gary Fox. If you could, would you eradicate high cap and the fast mags, the zippy mags? You know, the ones, the flash mags?
Yeah. Like I think Gunsmithy.
Yeah, he used to have them. Yeah.
Zippy.
The ones where they've got the thing, you just pull it a couple times. Yeah. Flash mags. That's what they're called. Flash mags.
I think a lot of it comes down to what people can afford as well. So, those sort of like high cap hero mags are for people that have only just got the one mag and rentals and whatnot. If I do have a pet hate, it's pretty much HPA drum magged pistols. I'm not a fan of those.
You know what? I'm going to make you proud. So I did a video and a company commented, and they were like, "Oh, send us an MK mag, and we'll sort you out a HPA kit." And I was like, I was going to message you anyway, so I'm just going to message you because I wanted to buy one. So I messaged him and saying I'm not chasing free stuff. You just reminded me that I need to message you. So I was basically like, so what do I need? I've got a load of normal MK mags. Obviously, I need the adapter, and I can get a tank and line. Like, what else? Blah blah blah. And we got chatting, and they're like, you know what? I like your podcast. Like, it's the only airsoft thing that I'm watching at the moment, keeps my interest. So you know what? I'm gonna make you one on the house. And I was like, oh, that's incredible. Like really appreciate that. He was like, I can either do you a drum adapter or an MP5 mag. And I literally I fucking detest drum mags. I was like, I'll have the MP5, please. For the same as you, I appreciate the practicality.
Yeah.
But I feel there's like a line of where you can just have too much. Like MP7s are great. HP8 MP7 that still takes like 30, maybe 60 round mid caps. I get that. Yeah. A 500 round HPA drum mag on an MP7, not fair. Like, they are pocket snipers. Like, you've had an MP7, you had Kenny's old MP7.
I did, yeah.
They are phenomenally good. And you should not be allowed a full auto drum mag full of 4.8s.
No.
It's too much.
Just to say, for instance, anyone that's got a drum mag and they're not a millionaire, they're going to fill it with 2s and maybe 2.5s, maybe. And they're going to shoot, and when they shoot and they've got something that's shooting like high powered, they're just going to go all over the place. There's no accuracy in it, and then all they do is then they just dump it into a bush they think you're in. None of them hit you. Then they get the bollock because they've not hit you, and you say, well, because you're using 2s and 2.5s, and you're just hitting every leaf apart from me because they're just going all over the place. That's the reason why I'm not a fan of them.
The reason I hate high caps, more so than mid caps, because it happens with mid caps, but now you've got obviously guns like the MTW, the KWA-ERG, TM recoils, ASG Scorpion, like a lot of things now have like empty mag detection. But the last time I went to Lakes, I was in the main little village, and I'd put my rifle down to go into the village, and my MK was playing up because I'd recently rebuilt it and not set the hop, so I just had my USP. I've gone round a corner, and this guy's come round a corner, and we're literally 3 meters apart. He pulls up whatever he's got, like an ARP or something, and just starts hammering. And then I realise nothing's hitting me.
Yeah.
And he's just dry firing because he hasn't wound the bloody thing.
Oh no.
So it's just, and obviously they've got that very like clunk, 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 clunk. So then I'm just sort of like, like, sorry, but you were dry firing. And he was like, oh, what do you mean? I'm like, your mags, because he was a rental. I was like, the mags run out, you've got to wind it. And he was like, oh, okay. And I just thought that put me in a really awkward position because obviously sometimes you do get full autoed and it will just hit like a thick pit of your webbing and might not make the sound that you, because obviously when you're wearing like webbing and stuff, generally when you get hit, you don't necessarily always feel it so much as you do hear it. Like even if you get clipped on like a leaf on a suit, it makes like a little crack sound, doesn't it? So when someone's got a high capper that's really loud and you're like, have I been hit? And then you sort of say, just shoot again.
Yeah,
and then shoot at the ground and nothing comes out and you're like, oh, okay.
But I don't feel bad for it. I don't feel bad for shooting people who cycled, but they should listen to the brief instead of mucking around shooting puddles. He might have used up all his BBs shooting a puddle, and now he's
maybe. But right, that is, I think that's most of the question. Josh Longton's just joined, Soldier and Airsoft. We're on the way out, Josh. We're just closing down.
You can watch it.
Any words of wisdom? So before we go, have you got any words? Obviously, a lot of the people who are in the chat are people that either you know or I know, we both know. But any words of wisdom for anyone new that might be watching? Either in terms of gear or gameplay or...
Just enjoy it. Remember, it's just a game. You know,
mine is take 5 minutes. If you're getting annoyed, just walk back to safe zone. And I tell you what, the walk back to safe zone will have annoyed you more than the thing that made you walk back to the safe zone, and then you'll just turn around and carry on.
Exactly. I think a lot of people don't realise they take it way too seriously, and it's just a game. We're just grown. A lot of us are just like me, old men, grown men, walking around the field dressed as a tree or whatever, trying to shoot plastic BBs at people. But when I say trying, we are trying. That's all it is. And for me, that it's just about enjoying the day and having fun, trying to have fun, you know. And that's all. The only words of wisdom I can offer people is to try and enjoy it. You know, it's a game after all.
That is very true. And the last words of wisdom didn't come from you or me, came from Ryan, but it seemed apt. And this is what we're going to finish on, because we are a family-friendly, wholesome stream. And Ryan simply says, his words of wisdom: if it itches, just get it looked at. So there we go. So, Hutchy, thank you for joining and having a catch up.
Thanks for having me on.
I think next time I'm going to try and get it's going to be pushing my computer a bit, trying to stream all of it. But I'm going to see if I can get you, me, Ed, and one other on like a 4-way one of these, and just have like a general chat about Airsoft in terms of for new people, because obviously
you need a bigger screen for Ed though, because he's so
because he'll have his 12-year-old girl entourage obviously in the background. Oh, Senpai Edward, just like that. But so thank you, and for everyone that watched, thank you very much. If you didn't know who Hutchy was, hopefully you do now, and if you do want to have a look at some of his stuff, he's on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, which is Hutchy Airsoft Sniper. I think your name's the same across all of them, isn't it? It's all just Hutchy Airsoft Sniper.
Okay, yes, all the one name, yeah.
So yeah, so go check them out, like, subscribe, follow, share, all that goodness. And for everyone that did support the stream and send stars, thank you very much. It's never expected, but always appreciated. And on that note, we're going to say goodbye. And yeah, enjoy your weekend. And if you're in the UK, be careful, because I think it's going to be really hot again.
Cheers, guys.
So,
speak to you soon.
Speak to you all later. Bye-bye.